Hello. So I have some sad news to tell you. My cat passed away. My little tool. I called her Zoe. And why did I call her Zoe? I got her in 1999. She's 17 years old. She was 17 years old. Why did I call her Zoe? From the book Franny and Zoey. Back in high school. And I will, if you ever call me that name. Back in high school, some people would call me that name. And I in the personality aspect, if you read the book, it's one of my favorite books. I just felt that she was the Zoe and I was the Franny. So, and it worked out that way. It really worked out that way because she was the level-headed one, the reasonable one, the angel, the on your corner, the one that kind of like just was there, empathic, understanding, knew people, read people, just was totally on point as to on a totally different spiritual level. I had various people come through and they're like, there's something very wise about that cat. And she was. And she really, when I lived with her, she slept with me in the bed, most nights. And I would wrap around her, we would spoon and I would wrap around her now. And sometimes she would come and she would move where I was. So I would put my arm around her and we would sleep, in the night. Most of the nights we would sleep together. Um, when she started getting sick is when she wasn't able to sleep on the bed, and within literally a couple of days, she just, what was wrong with her? She had cancer. She had a tumor. So she had a tumor, and it was pushing up against her liver and intestines and various different elements, and it just was impeding her from going to the bathroom towards the last hours of her life, and it just, she just left. She died in my arms. I know it sounds a little poetic, but I was holding her and I was giving her some medication. I was rubbing a little medication, and I just felt, uh, I just felt her just slowly just go. Just I felt her, and then I was like, Zoe, Zoe, and I would look at her, and her face was just limp, and I felt like there was still life in there somehow, but it just was slipping away, and she was in pain, and I just felt like, whatever. We had taken her to the vet the day before. They had done some blood analysis. They still have yet to call me and tell me the results. So that's okay. And it just, but we took her to various different doctors, and finally a doctor was just able to diagnose her and say, but after the fact that she, properly. So it breaks my heart. Things that I mean, I think that when you lose a pet, you want to automatically go towards guilt because you think to yourself, what could I have done better? What could I have fed her differently? And I think that's automatically where I go. I think that the things that I would have, the information that I impart to you is like I would go, I would have loved to have chosen the organics. I would have loved to go more towards cooking food for her, seeing what that does. I would have loved to have taught her when she was younger how to use a leash so she could go outside, so her senses could be more adaptive. I remember when, the only times we took her out, like in the car, was when she was in a carrier. And she was an indoor cat and she was afraid. Sometimes I would bring her out and I would hold her like a baby so she would look outside into the world. And one time I put a harness on her and that was a mess. We totally got into a fight. She did not want to take it off. I was yelling at her. I was like, ah! We would like argue like cats. Because I felt like she was, I was her father. She was my mother. She is my daughter. I am her son. And it was that kind of relationship that I had with her. When she was a kitten, when she was a kitten, she would lick my armpits, like when they were dirty, like she needed to clean me. And she was so shy, she would hide under I got her, when I used to work in Borders, and I saw this cute little kitten, and somebody asked me, do you want a kitten? And I'm like, I don't know, you know. Uh, so they brought her the next day, and I just fell in love with her. I then took her home, and I lived with my mom, and she was like, you know, so but she learned to love her, and she became affectionate, and she became a staple in our life, and she became our best friend. She was always there. She would always come to the door. I think that people say like, cats are weird. Like, no, cats are selective. They're not. They're not the sluts of the animal world like dogs are. Give a dog some bacon. Trust me, you can rob a house. you know? I mean, but cats are selective. Cats are not stupid. I love dogs, don't get me wrong, and I'm sure there's some brilliant dogs out there, but cats are selective. And, just a couple more things. She would always, when she was younger, she would grab the camera. This is so weird. Mind you, she also played fetch. I would throw the ball. She would go get it, bring it back. I would throw it again, go get it. Later, as she got older, she was just like, this is annoying. This doesn't make sense. She would go chase the ball, but I didn't think something happened where she wouldn't bring it back anymore. I wish I would have played with her more. Uh, you know, just so she would grab the camera and she would bring it over. She would grab the camera and she would bring it over, and then she would go back and she would pose, and I would have to take quite a few pictures of her, and then she'd be like, okay, and then she would come to my side, like, and then I would show her the pictures. I don't know, I mean, she would look at some of them, but there was a clear understanding that there was something going on, like, like you want to have your picture taken. Towards the later years in her life, she was actually more beautiful. Her hair had grown out more. She stood out more. She stood out more. She was she had a wilder look. She was a long hair, a medium to long hair, mean coons. She was white. I'm gonna include a link to her Facebook page. I'm gonna include a link to her Facebook page so you can see her pictures and stuff like that. She had flu once. We gave her Pedialyte with just a couple of things that you might want to consider. Gerber baby food, Pedialyte, boiling chicken. These are information that I've gotten for people. It's kombucha. Some people have given their dogs kombucha and cats kombucha, in order to feed them. If you look up on the internet, cannabis oil, it's a healer, it's a relaxer. It allows, the cat to just feel more relaxed. It doesn't race their heart as an edible or something like that would do, but it just kind of depends on the oil. Mind you, depends on the oil. So really, you got to have that's when you're stepping into a whole holistic element. You really need to talk to your vet and stuff like that. Yoplait. A funny story about Yoplait was that she is the one who noticed that they were hydrogenated corn syrup. I was like, I'm still eating it. She stopped eating. Because what I would do is I would eat it, then I would give her leftovers because, she liked it. And then at certain points I was like, you're not eating it. And I'm like, why? And then I was like, it has hydrogenated corn syrup. And then when they changed it and I ate it and I would give her some, she ate it again. So that's just a really beautiful story with Yoplait. She was my best friend. She was my best friend. I loved her so much. I would hold her. She died in my arms. She died as I held her in my arms, and I wish that I could have taken the pain away. There's a lot more pain away. I didn't know about pain medication for cats. The doctor didn't tell me about pain medication for cats. They didn't know what was going on with her. There was a lot of things that were just up in the air. And in the transition, she just got from bad to worse, and it just got to the point where I just wanted to relieve the pain as much as I could. So I'll talk about her a little bit more, in the future, so I can keep her memory alive for posterity. She was the first pet I ever owned, like fully. Like she was the first pet where, we had to. Oh, one time she had diarrhea. So what we had to do is mind you, cats are lactose intolerant. I don't know if you know that. A lot of people are like, oh, cats and milk. I don't know about that one. But I don't think this was this particular story. I think that she had eaten some wrong food or whatever, and she had diarrhea. It was just like, ugh. So then we had to give her a bath and dip her in the water and like literally with my hands just, work out the shit. Work the shit out. Literally. And I laugh about it now, and she was just like the entire time because she's never been wet, and it was just a first experience. And I would trim her. She would get hairballs and stuff like that. The doctor gave me before we left her. Once we left her with the doctor, he gave me a piece of her hair that I'm going to hold on to, and we're having her cremated. So, and I'll give you the story about that later. I do have spiritual. I have a contract with her. I have a spiritual contract with her where we're spiritually bonded and connected. So it kind of steps up my game. I need to step up my game now that she's transitioned into a whole other reality. And in order for me to channel that particular soul again, I need to transition and step up my game. So I think that I have taken that soul back into myself. A portion of that soul remains within me, within everybody that she came in contact with, and everybody that let her touch her. She was a very selective cat. I can actually number 3 people that she would let sit on their lap. 3 people. Me, my mother, and one other person. And so she knew that there was a spiritual connection with people to different degrees and whatnot and what they meant. Thank you for watching. I wish you a wonderful